So this video is about identifying the slope and the y-intercept from a table or an equation. All right, so let's go back to what we've done before. Marissa wants to go to space camp. It costs $125 per day. In addition, there's an application fee of $45, which is non-refundable even if Marissa does not attend the camp. So consider the table and graph provided. All right, so if we look at 0, right, it's still costing $45, not because she's going, but because of that non-refundable application fee. All right, so when she goes for 1 day, it's the application fee plus the $125. Okay, when she goes 2 days, it's the $45 plus 2 days of $125. All right, and then they've graphed it for us. So let's answer these questions. Does the situation y equals 125x plus 45 represent the situation? What do you think? So does it make sense to multiply 125 times this number here times the number of days and then add 45? Well, I would say yes, right? Because I need to know how much the days, if I know how many days she's going, then I have to multiply that, right, to know the cost of the camp. But then I always have to add this $45 because of the application fee. So I would say yes. You multiply by 125 to get the day cost. Then you add a $45 application fee. And we're looking at all this again because eventually in the next, what we're leading up to is being able to write these equations ourselves, all right? So we can tell if they make sense or not. And sometimes we can figure them out, but we're going to give you a formula in the next step that helps you write this equation. All right, what we want you to notice is that m, okay, is the difference, right? In the y, it's the difference from here to here. So 170 minus 45, change in the y, which would be 125 over the change in x. How much did this change? 1. So 100 change in y over the change in x, 125 over 1, or just 125. And the x-intercept, where does it intersect this line? Okay, well, it's kind of hard to tell, but do we know where it intersects the line? It intersects the line at 45. When x is 0, this is 45 because of that application fee, right? She's going to pay $45 even if she doesn't go just because of that application fee. Well, where do you see these numbers in the equation? All right. Well, 125, right? That's what we just called the slope. And 45 is what we just called the intercept. All right. Or y would equal, if I replace 125 with m and 45 with b, I get this form right here, y equals mx plus b. This is important. This is part of that equation or that form I was telling you about that you're going to use to write equations. This is known as the slope-intercept equation. And this form, m is always in front of what? Where do you see it? It's in front of the x. Okay, so the slope is always in front of the x. The constant, okay, that just means the number by itself is b. So the number by itself is always going to be the y-intercept. And the equation is always set equal to what? It's always going to equal y, right? So m, the slope is in front of x. The number, okay, that doesn't have a variable is the y-intercept, and then it's always equal to y. And then when the equation, with this equation, you can identify the slope and the y-intercept. So when it's written like this, we can tell which one's x, or what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. Notice it's plus. Okay, so that's going to make a difference sometimes when we see a negative intercept. All right, let's keep going. So we want to find the slope and the y-intercept for each of the equations. And we're remembering that we're using this form here, y equals mx plus b. All right, so in this form, right, mx plus b, m is what's in front of the x, so that would be the 2. B is the plus part, plus what? Okay, plus 3, so b is 3. So the y-intercept is 2. And then the y-intercept, is 3. Sorry, my phone was making not noises. It was telling me I'm about to run out of power. I better hurry. All right, and then, so the slope is 2. And y-intercept is 3. Here, the slope is what's in front of the x, so that would be the negative 2/3. Here, there's no plus anything, all right? Well, I still have to have a y-intercept, so what could I put there plus what that wouldn't change this? I could put a plus 0, so the y-intercept is actually 0 in this one. Here, the slope is always in front of x, so there's a negative in front of x, but is there a number in front of x? Well, I can always put a number there. I can make this negative 1x, that's the same thing, negative 1, okay? And then the y-intercept is this 4, but it's not plus 4, it's minus 4. So what do you think I'm going to write for the y-intercept? Yeah, it's not going to be positive, it's going to be a negative 4, because I could rewrite this as negative 1x plus, keep, right, change, opposite to negative 4. Then I could see the plus part is the negative 4. Right here, in this case, the slope is in front of x. Well, what's missing here? There is no x, right? So how do I get rid of that x? I multiply it by 0, right? So this is one of those horizontal lines where the slope is 0, 0x. And the slope is 0. The y-intercept is the constant. It's the thing without the x, so it would be 3. Right? This one, mx plus b, it's always equal to y. They just flipped it over, right? So it's still, the slope is still in front of x, so that would be 3/4. B is this part right here, but it's not plus 5, all right? So it's not going to be 5. It's going to be negative 5. It's plus a negative 5. Right? On this one, it is equal to y, but don't be fooled. The slope is in front of what? X. So 4 is the slope, and then negative 5 is the y-intercept. All right, so then if we remember that the y-intercept of a line, the B part of the line, is the y-coordinate of the point at which the line crosses the y-axis, okay? If you think about your graph, is where it's crossing the y-axis, that vertical line. This point, when it crosses the y-axis, right? Okay, then the x-coordinate, the y-coordinate is this one right here, but the x-coordinate is always going to be 0. So if we're trying to find the y-intercept in a table, then we want to figure out where's the point that has an x of 0. All right. So the slope, this part doesn't change, right? We're going to find the change in the y and the change in the x. So this is an upward change, right? It goes up by 2. This goes up by 5. So y over x, rise over run, 2 over 5. Now, they don't give us a point where x is 0. So we're going to have to figure it out. Now, these are going down by 5 or up by 5. All right, so I have to go backwards. So if I go down to 5, then this is going to go down to 11. Okay, that's still not where x is 0. So I have to go down 5 more. So if I do 0, and I go down by 2 more, I get 9. So when x is 0, y is 9. The y-intercept is 9. All right, so the slope, that part doesn't change. To find the y-intercept on a table, I'm looking for where the x is 0. And sometimes they don't give it to me, so I have to figure it out based on my table. All right, look at this one. The slope is a change in y and the change in x. So this is a positive change, 1. This is a positive change of 2. So y over x, 1 over 2 is my slope. I need my y-intercept, so I'm looking for when x is 0. I don't have a 0 here, so I'm going to have to figure it out. So these are going up by 2, so I'm going to go down by 2 and get 0. These are going up by 1, so if I go backwards, it's going to go down to, what, 0. So when x is 0, y is 0. That's my y-intercept. Look at 9. The slope is a change in your y. So this is a positive change, right? It's going up by 5. This is a positive change. It's going up by 2. So y over x is 5 over 2. All right? And this time I'm looking for when x is 0. Now don't get confused here. Y is 0 here, but that's not the y-intercept. I want to know when the x is 0. So when x is 0, y is negative 5. That's my y-intercept. When x is 0, y is negative 5. All right, look at the next one. I'm going to find my change in y. This time, y is going down, so this is a negative change, negative 3. But x is going up, right? If you don't see it here, you see it down here, right? It's going up by 1. So my slope is negative 3, change in y over my change in x. Okay, my y-intercept is when x is 0. So if I look through here, yep, there's x is 0. So the intercept is 2. If I look at the next one, I'm at my change in y, right? 4 minus 4, did it change? Nope, it's 0. Here, is it going up or down? It's actually going up, right? As it gets closer to 0, it's going up. So it's going up by 2. So if I write my slope as y over x is 0 over 2 over the line, what's that equal to? Just 0. So this is a horizontal line because it has got that O in it, horizontal. All right, so I still need to find my y-intercept, all right, which I don't have. But if I continue this process, I'm looking for when x is 0. If I go up 2 more, then that gets me to 0. What's this going to be? Just a 4. So B is 4. All right, so that is finding the slope and the y-intercept from a table and a graph. See you soon.